The story begins in a scientific lab where experiments are being done on rats. A scientist is working on a very big experiment. He injects a special kind of serum into one rat and then puts it inside a closed box. After some time, when he checks the rat, his eyes fill with surprise and joy. The experiment has succeeded. He immediately runs to a senior, whose name is Dr. Andres, and tells him this amazing news. The project they had been working on for many years has finally achieved a major breakthrough. After this big success, a huge press conference is organized. Dr. Andres stands in front of the people and explains their work. He talks about the problems of the world. Wars everywhere, climate change, pollution, all these things are troubling people. He removes a small box kept on the table, and under it a tiny man is standing. This is Dr. Jurgen, the main scientist of this project. Seeing him, everyone goes completely silent. Dr. Jurgen explains that 30 people from his team, including his wife, have voluntarily undergone this process. All of them are now just 5 inches tall. He assures everyone that the process is completely safe and there is no pain at all. To prove his point, another man brings the rest of the team on a trolley. Everyone looks on in shock. Many tiny people are standing on the trolley, waving their hands. Dr. Jurgen says that this is the beginning of a new era and the result of 5 years of hidden hard work. To show how much this experiment can benefit the world, an assistant lifts a small plastic bag. He says that this little bag contains all the waste that these 30 people have produced in the last 5 years. Their idea is very clear. After shrinking, a human will use less space, less food, everything in smaller amounts. Dr. Jurgen gives an open invitation to the whole world. Anyone who wants can undergo this process. This news spreads across the world like wildfire. Everyone starts talking about downsizing, becoming small. Now the focus of the story moves to our hero, Paul. Paul is living a very normal life at this time, taking care of his sick mother at home. Unfortunately, despite all his efforts, his mother's condition keeps getting worse, and after some time she dies. Paul works in a factory and also helps sick people on the side. He genuinely loves helping others from the bottom of his heart. Paul is married to a woman named Audrey. They do not have children, but they love each other very much. After their marriage, they buy a new house, putting all their savings into it. Then Paul realizes how difficult and expensive it is to fulfill one's dreams. One evening, Paul and Audrey go to a party with their friend. The main attraction of this party is to tiny people, Dave and Carol. They have come there to talk about the benefits of downsizing. Dave tells the crowd that there is no disadvantage to becoming small. They can do everything they love, but in a world where their money is worth many times more. He tells them that their community is called Leaserland, where everything is very cheap. He talks about his huge mansion that he could never have afforded in normal life. This presentation leaves a deep impact on Paul and Audrey. After reaching home, their minds are full of new dreams. A few days later, they are invited to visit Leaserland. The next morning they go there. It is an absolutely clean, beautiful, and perfect place made only for tiny people. A cheerful little man welcomes them and gives them a tour. He shows them his luxurious house, which he bought for just a few dollars. He also introduces them to his wife, who is the same size as him, and together they paint a picture of their happy life. A promise of a comfortable life without worrying about money now seems extremely attractive. The tiny tour guide explains even more. He says that after becoming small, his life changed completely. Anyone can get this transformation done, and there will be no problem of any kind. After this, Paul and Audrey meet the doctor. The doctor explains the financial reality in very clear words. He says that after downsizing, their big house in the normal world will be useless. They can sell it, and with that money they will become extremely rich in Leaserland. Everything is so cheap there that they can spend as much as they want, and still their money will never run out. Finally, both of them decide together to go through with downsizing. Paul goes to his job and tells his co-workers that today is his last day. He says that he is going to become small and start a new life in Leaserland. His colleagues are happy for him and say goodbye one last time. Paul and Audrey meet all their friends one last time because they know that after becoming small, they will never be able to meet them again. They sell their house. They remove their wedding rings for the procedure and get ready to leave their old life behind. The next morning, they board a special Leaserland bus with many other hopeful people. The bus takes them to a huge facility where humans are transformed. There, they are given one last chance to change their minds. An officer asks if they have any doubts or if anyone is forcing them. Paul and Audrey both confidently say that they are doing all this of their own free will. They are told that the procedure for men and women takes place in separate areas. They hug each other one last time and promise to meet on the other side. Paul is taken to his area where many naked men are standing. Preparations to downsize them are in full swing. All the hair on their bodies is completely shaved off. Any bad or decayed teeth are removed. All of this happens while they are under anesthesia, so they feel nothing. Once unconscious, Paul is placed into a large advanced machine. The process takes about 20 minutes, and when it is over, Paul is perfectly downsized to just 5 inches tall. The newly shrunken people are then taken to a recovery area where everything is built to their new scale. Now there are tiny doctors with them as well. Artificial tiny teeth are placed where their old teeth were removed. After a long time, Paul regains consciousness. He is lying on a small bed. A nurse, who is herself tiny, looks after him and tells him he is perfectly fine and the whole procedure was successful. She gives Paul tiny clothes and also a big biscuit, which from Paul's new perspective looks like a sofa cushion. But Paul is not worried about himself. His His eyes are only searching for his wife, Audrey. Just then his phone rings. It is Audrey. Her voice is full of fear and regret. What she tells him completely breaks him. During the final pre-procedure steps, she became extremely scared. When she saw her hair being shaved off, she could not handle it. She decided to back out of the process and left the facility while Paul went through with the entire procedure. He is now only 5 inches tall. In this tiny world, what will he do alone without his wife? Paul begs Audrey to come back. He says, "Please come. There's no problem. I've already done the procedure. Everything will be fine. Your hair will grow back." But Audrey has made up her mind. She clearly says that she is too scared and will not return. Saying goodbye one last time, she cuts the call. Paul is left completely alone. He is now 5 inches tall forever. His heart is totally shattered. The dream of his perfect new life falls apart even before it begins. He becomes deeply depressed. Despite living in a big, luxurious bungalow, he feels completely lonely. Soon their wedding rings are sent to him. Seeing them, which now look enormous compared to his size, makes his pain even deeper. A whole year passes. Paul lives alone. He is living a life of luxury, but has no one to share it with. Sometimes he meets his friend Dave, who tells him that there are lots of women there and he will surely find someone, so he should stop overthinking. One evening, Paul is at home on a date, but everything feels forced and empty. His upstairs neighbor, Dusan, who loves noise and parties, suddenly barges in. He invites Paul to his big party. Paul has nothing better to do, so he agrees. The next night, Paul goes to Dusan's grand party, carrying a huge rose as a gift. Dusan is very happy to see him. He tells Paul to drink freely and says many women will be there, so he should hook up with someone and forget his ex-wife. But Paul cannot connect with anyone. He drinks all night, dances in the chaos, and eventually collapses unconscious. By morning, the party is over. Only Paul and Dusan are lying around in the messy apartment. The next morning, the cleaning crew arrives. Dusan is so rich that he gets everything done by other people. When Paul wakes up with a hangover and a spinning head, he notices one of the cleaning women. He recognizes her. She is Ngoc Lan Sarah in your version, a famous activist from Vietnam whom Paul had seen on the news a year earlier. In that news report, it was shown that a whole colony of downsized people in Vietnam had been destroyed, and she was the only survivor. In that incident, she lost one of her legs and now uses a prosthetic leg. Paul goes up to her, surprised that such a famous woman is doing cleaning work. He tells her that he knows her story and says she used to be a journalist, so why is she doing this cleaning job? Ngoc Lan bluntly replies that she needs to stay alive, and this job gives her just enough money to get by. Paul notices that she is gathering some medicines from Dusan's apartment. He stops her and says taking these medicines might not be right. She explains that they are for a sick friend. Dusan actually allows the cleaners to take anything they find useful. In his previous life, Paul used to help sick people. He notices that Ngoc Lan's artificial leg is fitted incorrectly and must be causing her pain when she walks. He tells her that he can fix her leg. Ngoc Lan is very pleased by this. She tells Paul that he is a good man and also has medical knowledge, then asks if he would come to see her sick friend. Seeing her helpless situation and wanting to give his life some meaning, Paul says yes. He leaves his life of luxury, boards a bus with Ngoc Lan, and goes to a part of Leizerland he never knew existed. Their bus takes them to a hidden section of Leizerland. On the way, they cross a huge wall. On the other side, Paul sees a poor settlement. There are no big houses like his, but instead a shanty town built inside old shipping containers where poor people like Ngoc Lan live. She takes him to her small home inside one of the containers. Inside, a woman is lying on a bed, extremely sick. Ngoc Lan tells him this is her friend and asks Paul, "Doctor, please treat her." Paul says that he is not a real doctor, but Ngoc Lan insists, saying he still knows more than she does. Paul suggests that some of the medicines taken from Dusan's apartment can be given to her. After thinking carefully, he gives her a few medicines. Paul again says that he will properly fix Ngoc Lan's prosthetic leg. She says they will do that after a few days. Paul leaves, but he cannot forget her. A few days later, he returns to her home. Ngoc Lan has bad news. The sick woman they had given medicine to has died. She says anxiously that maybe she gave too much medicine, but she also says that before dying, there was a smile on the woman's face, as if she had finally been freed from pain. Paul begins fixing Ngoc Lan's artificial leg. As he tightens the loose screws, she starts telling her story. She says that in Vietnam she protested against a government dam project, which is why she was thrown in jail. Her sister was also jailed with her, but she could not bear the torture and died. During all of this, an accident cost Ngoc Lan her leg. While Paul is working, the prosthetic leg suddenly breaks. Ngoc Lan gets very angry and says he has made it even worse than before. But Paul does not give up. He lifts her onto his shoulders and promises to do her cleaning work until he fixes her leg. Now Paul begins cleaning the houses of the rich people in Leizerland. This job is far lower than the work he did earlier in his life, but Paul does not mind. By helping others, he once again starts to feel that his life has meaning. He stays with her for many days. During this time, he sees another side of Ngoc Lan. He sees how, despite her poverty, she helps other old and sick people, giving them food and other supplies. Her kindness and compassion deeply touch Paul's heart. One day, when they are cleaning Dusan's flat together, Dusan notices Paul and laughs. He jokes that Paul used to be the owner of a big mansion there and is now doing cleaning work, asking what is going on. Paul simply says it is a long story and he will tell it another time. Dusan understands that whatever has happened, his friend looks happy. At that time, Dusan is talking with another man about a secret mission to Norway with a lot of money involved. Doosan invites Paul to come along. When Ngoklan hears this, she immediately says that if Paul is going, she will go too. Paul warns that it might be dangerous, but she does not change her mind. She says that going to Norway has always been her dream. In the end, Paul, Ngoklan, Doosan, and his associate board a special boat and set off on a long sea journey. During this trip, Paul meets the real inventor of the downsizing project, Dr. Jurgen, and his wife Anne. They too are going on this mission. Dr. Jurgen tells Paul a terrifying truth. He says that melting glaciers are releasing huge amounts of methane gas, and if this continues, the entire world will be destroyed. It is to counter this that he wanted to shrink humans. If the glaciers had not melted, their plan might have worked, but not enough people are willing to downsize, and at this speed there is no way left to stop it. So, he says, they should think of this mission as the last party before the end of the world. For Paul, all this is very hard to understand. He talks to Ngoklan, and she struggles to accept that the world might really end. That night, the heavy truth and their growing closeness bring them together. Paul kisses Ngoklan, and they spend the night together. After a long journey, their group reaches Norway. There they find a sweet little community of downsized people living peacefully in harmony with nature. Unlike Liserland, there are no walls and separate systems to divide people. The local people are very happy to see Dr. Jurgen and his wife. A woman from the community takes Paul to show him around. She brings him to a huge tunnel inside a mountain. She tells him this is their last hope for survival. About 2 kilometers beneath the mountain, there is a massive underground bunker. Inside, there is a place where there will never be a shortage of food or water. A selected group of people will live underground for 8,000 years until the world above becomes habitable again. They have stocked food, water, and all essential supplies. They are determined that the human species will not go extinct. Hearing all this, a new fire is lit inside Paul. He feels that if he goes inside, his life will serve a purpose. He happily tells Ngoklan that he has decided to enter the bunker. He believes that this way he will be contributing to saving humanity. But Ngoklan's heart breaks. She becomes angry and asks how he can leave her after everything that has happened between them. She asks whether he was just passing time with her and does not truly love her. Paul does not give a clear answer to this. He sticks to his decision and insists that he has to go inside. This is his path. His words completely crush Ngoklan. She starts crying. Paul then tells Doosan about his decision. Doosan says that Paul could stay above ground and still help people, but Paul has already made up his mind. When it is time to enter the bunker, everyone gathers to watch the sunset. They know they will never see the sun again in their lives. Paul says goodbye to everyone. His and Ngoklan's eyes meet. Without saying anything, she is asking him to stay. But Paul does not look back and walks into the dark tunnel. The people begin their 2-kilometer journey inside. It is dark and they must walk all night. Paul is walking at the very end of the line. With every step, his resolve weakens. He thinks about Ngoklan, Doosan, and all the relationships he has formed. He realizes that merely staying alive is not the same as truly living. If his loved ones are not alive, what is the point of his survival? Outside, Ngoklan and Doosan are standing at the tunnel entrance, hoping that Paul might return. Then they see someone coming out of the darkness. It is Paul. He has changed his mind. Doosan laughs and says he knew Paul would not go through with it. But Paul walks straight to Ngoklan. Looking directly into her eyes, he finally tells the truth that he loves her too. Now they decide to leave behind the empty life of luxury and spend their lives helping others. If you liked the video, then do hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.